Hey, what's up, guys? This is Frankie here. I just figured maybe I'd sit here and give you a little story time, a story about my life, and it's an interesting story. I think it's quite unique. I haven't heard anything quite like it, so maybe you'll find this somewhat entertaining. Anyway, so the story begins with the fact that when I was raised, when I was a child, my family had a lot of money. I grew up in a big mansion. I grew up in many mansions, actually. I moved a few times as a child. And basically, my family had a lot of money up until I was about 13. My father and my mother, they ran multiple big online websites in the late 90s during the dot-com boom. And they ended up being able to make a lot of money making a new company, selling a new company, and they repeated this a few times. I looked up the value of the mansion that I lived in. It was about $4 million right now, so pretty hefty. We weren't outrageously rich, but we had a decent amount of money. My sister and I, we went to a private school, and this private school costed $20,000 per kid. We would go on a bunch of vacations every year. I remember one year we went on a 30-day European cruise. We went to China, Australia. We went to the Bahamas a few times a year, Vegas a few times a year. All of these things. And so from the outside, people would look at my life and be like, "Oh man, like he's the luckiest person ever." I've had my friends tell me that they want to switch lives with me, that they want to be in my life, so that they can have all the money, But this is a story for another video. But like money is not so valuable when when the energy inside the house isn't very good. I never had a really good relationship with my dad. He was always kind of an asshole. He was usually angry or frustrated or busy with work. We didn't have much of a relationship. Anyway, so basically the story of me having money, my family having money, all flipped upside down when I was 13. And that's when everything changed. Because when I was 13, my dad died. And at the time, I was just told that my dad died. It was like an accidental drug overdose, like something along the lines of he took medication that was given by a doctor and he took too much of it, yada yada, and he accidentally died. That was a story that I was given. It wasn't until I was about 17 when I started putting things together, and I was like, oh shit, you know what? Did he kill himself? Like, was this intentional? I ended up asking my mom, and I got the full story then. So my dad did, actually commit suicide intentionally. So basically, from what I've been told about how my family lost our money, I knew that my dad had a bad spending habit. There was a point where he bought like a $3 million house in cash while we already were paying a high mortgage on another house. He just kept buying things. And the reason I think that he kept buying things was because he had a void in his life. The void that I feel like could have been filled by a loving relationship with family, or a void that could have been filled by some sort of spiritual purpose. I feel like he didn't have these things, and instead the only entertainment, the only thing that he wanted more of in his life was just things. He got obsessed with buying things, whether it was houses or cars or vacations or watches. I mean, he had $80,000 watches. These vacations we would go on would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. He just kept buying things. And my mom would buy things too, but I do remember my dad really having a bad habit. I remember we'd come home, my mom would pick us up from school, and on the way home from school, we'd stop by the UPS store. And every day we'd pick up like 15 new boxes of shit that my dad ordered. So along with my dad having the bad spending habit, towards the end of his life, his mother also died, and he got into a really bad depression. And so he got into this depression. He had this really bad spending habit, and he developed a drug addiction. He got addicted to painkillers, and he kept getting prescriptions. I don't know how. They'd probably pay the doctor off or something. But he kept getting prescriptions for these painkillers, and he developed a serious addiction. So he had this addiction. He had the depression, the grief of his passing mother, and he had this terrible spending habit. And all of these things together, you know, he got himself into a lot of debt. I was told it was about six figures, like $100,000 in debt he got himself into. Eventually he got to the point where it got so bad that all of these things coming together, he just ended up killing himself. He shot himself in the head. My poor mom had to walk in, you know, later that day and see her husband, you know, the father of her children like that. You know, that's terrible. That sucks. Anyway, so over the next 6 months to a year after this happened, my mom we all kind of just started seeing like the actual state of our finances. I guess my mom wasn't very in touch with what our finances were looking like. And we slowly started finding out like, oh, he owed all these credit cards, all this money. You know, we started getting phone calls from these credit card companies or business partners that he owed money to. And we ended up finding out that we were in a serious amount of debt. So within 12 months, really, my family went from living in like a $4 million mansion, 6-car garage, all of these things, to not even owning a car. I mean, we went, I want to say, a year to 2 years without owning a car. I mean, I would go to Publix, or supermarket. I would go to the Publix every day on my bicycle. I'd collect change, like coins and shit, and I'd go to the store on my bicycle, and I'd get a chicken, you know, and we'd come home and we'd cook it, and we'd do this every day, you know, for years. We really were really screwed up by the situation. My mom has told me that she regrets not filing for bankruptcy because apparently, I don't know the logistics of that, but apparently filing for bankruptcy would have helped a lot. And my mom was honest. She said that filing for bankruptcy just would have been a big blow to her ego, and you know, she regrets it a lot, but she wishes that she did. Not having money, you know, living in a lot of debt really was a big change from having all the money. You know, we were always late on rent, a few times a year we'd have to go to the pawn shop and sell things. I mean, there were times where I would have to sell all my parents' stuff on eBay. Yeah, you know, it was just a big difference. And you know, from 2013 to like 2019, you know, we were, you know, just a complete life change of being multimillionaires to not even owning a car. You know, our whole house was fucked up too. The new house that we lived in, our kitchen was completely destroyed. So we didn't have a stove. We didn't have a sink to do the dishes, and we would do the dishes in our bathroom. And we would have on the floor, it would be the rack where we'd put the dishes. So we'd do the dishes in our bathroom, and we'd have these portable stoves that we'd cook the food on. Not only that, we had a serious cockroach problem, and we had a serious rat infestation. We had rats running around our house all the time. I mean, you know, I would walk out of my room to go to the bathroom, and there would be rats every day for years. There'd be rats, you know. Huge difference, and I guess humbling, you know. Growing up with a lot of money, I really was raised, it's so silly, but I thought that like people who didn't have money were like lesser than me. I swear to God, I really thought that. It's so cringy to think about now, but you know, I really was a product of just that parenting. And my dad, you know, really developed quite an ego from having some money, and that became like his whole personality. You know, we'd take limousines to the airport. He really just wanted to put on this whole persona of having money, and that became his whole thing. Ended up dying, and you know, whole family got left with nothing. Crazy shit. Fast forward to now, you know, we've recovered a bit financially. My mom's doing well. She's actually in nursing school. I'm really proud of her. She's in nursing school. She's got an okay job that she really likes. It's more than okay. It's a great job that she really likes. I'm living in New York City. You know, I'm really happy with my life. My sister's doing okay. Life is really good, but I just figured out that's an interesting story, I thought, so I figured I'd share that with you guys. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed me speaking into a camera.